Our program has a number of unique features in that it was born out of one volunteer, Australian government volunteer, coming to Laos, inviting me to mentor and help her, and to train and develop a small team at the Plant Protection Centre, from where we branched out to helping in 2 of the provinces. And from Champasak, where we were based for those first few years with the volunteers, we were asked to come up to Savannakhet, and our first request was to work on diseases of watermelons, which I thought a little bit odd in a large province like Savannakhet, but it turned out it's a very valuable cash crop for the dry season for improving farmer income and livelihoods. With the expansion into the laboratory in Savannakhet, we added more volunteers from the Australian government program. We've done quite well since 2012 in having a wonderful series of volunteers working with us. The other unique feature is that we have over 40 e-mentors. Many of them have actually spent a short period of time helping us with workshops or particularly difficult diagnostic problems here in Laos. And the association of that older network of experienced people with the enthusiastic young volunteers has made for very productive both diagnostics work and also productive training workshops of young Lao. Through the diagnostics work, we've worked out management measures to help the farmers understand how to control quite a few of the vegetable diseases. But with all work in least developed countries, you have to see it as a very gradual exercise and one where continuity of contact is important. And so it's building up a rapport with what I call key farmers, because there's 55,000 farmers in Savannakhet. We'll never reach all of them. But if one farmer teaches 5 others and they teach 5 others, a little bit of knowledge is gradually disseminated. And we fill the gap that many of the government staff can't fill because they've never had a formal background training other than our short workshops in plant disease, plant pests and weeds, and the management of these issues. 3 years ago, we recognised that we needed to know more about weeds, which are not only important as competitors, but also as hosts of many plant diseases, especially viruses in this region. And Professor Deirdre Lemerle was just retiring and asked me if there was any opportunity for her to work in Laos, and immediately had more work than she probably envisaged. And she has now settled into Savannakhet to work in association with an ASEA project on rice, involving work on weeds and soils problems. So we now have the 3 main thrusts for crop protection: diseases, pests and weeds being looked at. And through that research, we have been publishing a few papers, giving talks at conferences to make sure that our findings are being preserved for the future, so that as we train more young Lao people, as they progress professionally, the work we've done before and after they started with us is preserved for them to refer to. And all this is to help export and trade, because for Lao to be involved in export of plant materials, they've got to have a documented knowledge of pests and diseases, so that underpins the issuing of phytosanitary certificates, which are very critical to success in export and world trade. So we have a partnership that I like to think of between smallholder farmers, many of them we go back to every year, smallholder farmers, district staff, provincial staff, Department of Agriculture staff. Then we've got the Australian government volunteers and their enthusiasm and youth. And then we've got older Australian mentors and mentors from other countries. And we've of course got a lot of support from within Australia. And when you put all of that together, you've got a fantastic program for helping a least developed country, which have enabled us to do most of the work that we want to do at low cost. Everywhere we go, we're met with smiles.